Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I have an introduction for you guys, and this one is for my Panda palettes. So a little over a month ago I asked you guys for your thoughts and opinions on my Panda palette for this year. I gave you guys 3 options when it came to eyeshadow palettes, and I gave you guys 2 possible options for when it came to like face palettes. So I had a blush palette and a highlights palette, or a trio, whatever you want to call it there. And after tallying up all your votes, there was one major winner, which was not per se the one that I expected, but when I saw all the comments, I know I could have expected it. So the palette that won was my No Name palette. And this is the oldest palette in my collection. It is one of the more bulky palettes in my collection as well. As you can see, it's definitely like a thick, big palette. It has blushes in it as well, which means that I'm not going to be doing any like other blush palettes this year for now. I do have some thoughts on how I would want to approach it when I get to it though, because you guys have shared your thoughts on that. And I think based on your feedback and kind of my own thoughts as well, I will likely be doing like trying to hit pan on as many as possible in a year's time. Maybe next year, we'll see. But yeah, I had 3 options. I had my NYX palette as well, which you guys have probably seen a fair bit in my Panda eyeshadows last year, because I've been trying to kind of prep that for a possible Panda palette, trying to hit pan on as many shades as possible. Still have one shade in there that does not have pan. And this was option number 2. And then I had an Urban Decay palette as well. Like stats wise, the Urban Decay palette got the least amount of votes. Then the NYX palette initially started off kind of like getting a little bit more votes, so I had a feeling maybe that one would win. And then everybody just went crazy is a little bit too much of a word, but a lot of you guys wanted me to work on this one. I did see a lot of like thumbs up on the comments that were related to this palette as well, which I'm guessing is from a lot of people that are not like writing out whole comments but still want to kind of show what they're actually interested in. So I'm kind of counting that in a way as well, which means that this guy got about like, I don't have my tallies with me here, 40, like 30 to 40 votes in total. And then on top of that, I think with all the thumbs up on all the different comments that said I should go for this product, I probably have around like 100 votes, if not more, for this palette, whereas the NYX one ended up kind of being half of that at the end. So this is the winner. So let's take a look at where we are already at with this palette, because this palette has been in my collection for a while. Definitely means that it's got a little bit of progress on it already. So this is the color story that we will be working on, or I guess I will be working on this year. And I have 2 shades in here that are already finished. One that is really close to being done already as well. You can clearly see that back when, I don't want to say I started using makeup, but maybe it is kind of old. Anyway, I was more into the purples, like this quad kind of right here definitely has like the pinky purple shades that are gone for a fair bit already. And then I had, I think, 2 like more bronzy brownie shades, which they are definitely still my thing. The purples, I know they look good with my blue eyes. It kind of brings out the blue in my eyes as well. So that is also why I use those a lot. And then of course I have pan in those 2 other browns as well. But let's go through them one by one, the shades that are still left in here, and see what we're working with. So starting off, we have like a very, very light pink, which I only have a tiny bit left of. So this will probably be done in the first month. I would be surprised if there would still be product left in here after the first month. And you guys will be seeing swatches of the shades while we're going through this, so you have an idea of what they look like swatched. Duh. So light pink, then we have kind of a purplish pink, lavender, no, not really lavender, what's the name for that? I forgot. Anyway, a pinkish purple that already has a good bit of pan on it. So also this one I'm not expecting to be around for too long. I'm expecting this palette to be definitely a bit more powdery at this point, so I'll probably go through this relatively quickly. I'm I don't want to say that I'm definitely going to be able to finish off everything in here, but we will see. Then we have a darker brown, which as you can see as well, similar amount of pan as this guy. I love my browns and warm tones, so especially this side of the palette won't be a problem at all for me to get through. This one is finished already. Then we have a dark burgundy eggplant purple shade. This is probably going to be the biggest challenge this year because my Catrice palette that I'm rolling over together with this, I'm not showing it to you guys right now because I still need to film the finale, has a similar type of shade in it. And that will have to go first. So this will be most likely to be left at the end of the year out of all the shades in here, I would say at this point in time. Then we have the lavender shades. This one clearly have a good bit of pan in that one already as well. I really liked purples when I was younger. And I still kind of do. I just gravitate more towards warm than cool. But so that one, this one, definitely a shade that I didn't use a lot yet. Like there is a little bit of a dip in there, but definitely one that I would gravitate way more towards right now. So looking forward to using that a good bit more. Then we have this taupey shade, which has again a little bit of a slightest bit of a dip. And I think that's going to be an easy one to use as well. It's kind of like that in between, like crease type shade for me. Then we have a light shade here. This is kind of like a grayish, which is going to be really easy to use on the lid. Probably more towards the inside of the lid, and then like something else to kind of create a little bit more color because it's a very like muted type of shade. Tiny bit of a dip in this one as well. Then we have like a purple. I don't know what how to describe this purple other than just it's a purple. Also a slight bit of a dip in that one. And we have another brown, and these two are fairly similar, so I'm gonna have to see when I properly swatch this for you guys what the actual difference is, because clearly I've been using them both. Also have pan on this one, and I think this one is a little bit warmer and this one is a little bit darker, a little bit more cool tone, but we will see if that's actually the case when I swatch it for you guys. Another empty pan, a light blue with a tiny dip in it as well. Then we have a more bluish blue, but they're both kind of like more leaning a little bit gray tone. They're definitely not in your face blues, which will hopefully make them easier to use. This one has a bit more of a dip, so I have been using this one more than I would expect to use a blue at this point in time. Then the other like main dark shade in here is this dark green. That's definitely going to be a bit of work still to try and get through this, but I'm curious to see how long it's going to take me to hit pan on any of these, because once I hit pan on these, it's a little while ago, so I don't really know how many uses or anything it will take me to hit pan on that dark green shade or any shade in here to, yeah. So we will find out together. And then we have a lighter green, but it's still not a light green. So I'm guessing this is kind of like a crease shade as well. I have a really good dip in this one already, so my guess is that this one might be one of the first ones that I hit pan in out of the shades that I do not have pan in yet. My guesses would be this one and this one will be easiest for me to hit pan on at this point. This because it's a color I would gravitate towards, and this one because it has a really good dip in it already. But definitely want to try and focus a little bit on this quad right here now that we're still in winter. And well, the lighter cool tone shades probably match a little bit better, possibly a little bit in spring, but I'm hoping to have finished up most of what's in here towards the end of spring, so I can focus a bit more on everything else, which to me is more summer or fall time shades. So that's it for the eyeshadows. Now there are blushes in here as well, so this is going to be both a eyeshadow and a face palette that I'm going to be working on this year. And as you can see, I've made a good bit of progress on 2 of these blushes already, but let's start from the top. I'm very curious to see how this is going to go because they are definitely slightly dark these shades, but I don't know what the pigment is like, so maybe they will be fine. I think especially going into winter when it gets colder, I kind of like a slightly darker cheek because it really gives that I've just been out in the cold type of flush, which I always kind of like. So I have used this one. It's definitely a darker, little bit of a purple undertone. I feel like these two are fairly similar though, but We'll see in the swatches again. Then this guy is a bit more of like a warm bronzy contour tone. So I'm gonna have to see how I will like that one on my cheeks. And then these two I'm gonna go through fairly quickly. Of course, I'm gonna finish off the blush in my current Panda palette first. In my 2023 Panda palette, I should say, because by the time this goes up, this is my current Panda palette. This one, not a whole lot left. I might have to repress this or just try and get the last bits out one way or another. And then this one, same thing. So we've got cool toned and warm toned, very light shades. Should be pretty easy to get through. My guess is that we did the first, like, well, I shouldn't say 1 or 2 months because I'm still working on that blush in my other Panda palette. In the first quarter, I'm hoping to be able to get through both of these at the very least. And then these other ones are not as big pan wise. So this one, pretty dark, again, fairly similar to that shade. Maybe I will just mix them up with something at some point. We'll see how that's gonna go. And then this one will likely be kind of like a contour shade for me, which could be really useful when I'm traveling or something like that, because I will have my bronzer and my blushes all together in one palette. It is a bulky palette, so I'm not really sure how it's gonna work travel-wise, but we will see. And underneath here, there are lip products still and some brushes, but I will keep that closed throughout the remainder of this because those lip products are old. I'm definitely not gonna try and pan those. Plus there is a good bit of powder from the blushes and stuff that kind of fell through the cracks and is on there as well. So yeah, just quickly wanted to show you guys it's there, but you won't see that again. Yeah, so that's what I'm gonna be working on. Now, what I'm thinking my main focus for the upcoming month, I'm gonna try and finish this one off. I'm gonna try and see what I can do here. Hopefully hit pan in 1 or 2 of these. That would be really nice. I've got 9 shades in here without pan, so like technically I could try and hit pan on at least 1 shade for the first 9 months of the year and then try and finish off whatever is left by the end of that, while of course already trying to finish off other things at the same time. We'll see, but finish off this one and hit pan on maybe one of those 2 lighter shades would be good. Let's see if we can do that. Apart from that, yeah, we will see. We will see how it's gonna go. I'm just gonna play around with it a little bit, but it's nice to have like at least 1 or 2 goals that I can hit already. That would be nice. Yeah, that is it for this intro. This is the palette I'm gonna be working on in 2024. Hopefully you guys will enjoy following along with this guy. Very curious to see how quickly I'm gonna go through these shades because they are a bit older. How they're gonna perform, if I'm still gonna like them. If not, there might be some changes throughout the year, but knowing me, it's very likely that I will try and finish off everything in this palette before we roll this out of my collection. That's what I wanted to say. So yeah, thank you guys very much for watching, and I hope to see you in one of my next videos. Bye bye.